So Diddy, huh? This whole thing is kind of wild.
Yeah, it's definitely got people talking.
This TMZ interview, it really digs into the charges and everything. And what struck me was, well, Diddy offering to cut contact with all women as part of his bail.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that seems like a big deal, doesn't it?
It is. It's definitely unusual. And, Harvey Levin brought up a good point. It could backfire.
How so?
Well, it kind of makes it seem like he knows he could be a danger, right?
Like he's saying, look, I'll behave as long as there are no women around.
Exactly. It kind of plays into that whole witness tampering thing the prosecution's pushing, even if it's not intentional.
But, okay, this is Diddy we're talking about. The guy's loaded. Why not just offer up a ton of money for bail and call it a day?
That's where it gets interesting. Levin made a good point about that, too, Sometimes it's not just about the money.
Really?
The judge might be worried about more than just Diddy skipping town, making sure the trial is fair, that no one's being influenced.
So it's about protecting the whole process, not just preventing a flight risk.
Exactly.
Kind of reminds me of, well, if Levin mentioned the O.J. Simpson trial. Public opinion and all that, sometimes it doesn't line up with the law,
Exactly. And right now, we're only hearing one side of the story.
Right, just the prosecution's case.
Levin thinks the defense is going to argue consent, maybe even use, hip-hop culture as a way to explain things away.
Oh, here we go with that. But seriously, with all these accusations and over so many years, how convincing is that going to be?
Right, and Levin mentioned those potential civil cases, too.
Oh, right.
Right.
So we've got potential witnesses, this whole culture of silence thing. This is getting messy.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because we've talked about Diddy, but what about everyone around him?
His inner circle.
Exactly.
Yeah, his inner circle. You start to think about who else was there, who might have seen something, heard something.
Right.
What does the law say about them? And could they be staying quiet because of loyalty or even fear?
Those are the big questions. And, like Levin was saying, a lot of times in these kinds of cases, people will cooperate to try and get a better deal for themselves.
Like that saying, right?
Yeah.
If you can't do the time.
Don't do the crime.
Right. But in this case, it's more like, if you did do the crime, better point the finger at the bigger criminal.
Exactly. And don't forget what Levin said, that comparison he made.
Oh, about Diddy's operation being like, what was it, a mafia organization?
Yeah.
Or-
Running for almost 2 decades. Think
Okay.
about the pressure that puts on people.
It's kind of scary when you think about it like that.
Yeah.
So are people really staying quiet because they're loyal? Or are they afraid of what Diddy could do?
I mean, it's definitely possible. You can't ignore the power dynamics here.
Yeah.
Diddy's a huge name,
Yeah.
Going against him could ruin careers, reputations.
Yeah. It's like Levin said, Hollywood's been awfully quiet about all this, especially compared to, say, the Harvey Weinstein thing where everyone had an opinion.
That's true. Makes you wonder what's going on behind the scenes.
Right. So we've got potential witnesses too scared to talk, this whole mafia comparison. And Diddy's at the center of it all. This is way bigger than just one guy, don't you think?
I think so. It's about power, about systems, about a culture where staying silent is safer than speaking out.
And that's the really disturbing part.
Absolutely.
It really is. And yeah, it makes you think, if these allegations against Diddy turn out to be true, what does that say about the entertainment industry as a whole?
It's a huge question, right? Like Levin said, Diddy's not some small-time player. He's a giant.
Exactly. This isn't just about one court case. This is about, well, everything.
Mhm.
All the stuff we don't see.
Mhm.
All the voices that haven't been heard.
It makes you wonder how many stories are out there just like this one.
Right. And what do we do with that? Where do we even start?
Well, it has to start with accountability, doesn't it? Transparency. Making it so people feel safe to speak up, no matter who they're accusing.
Yeah, no matter how powerful they are. Wow. This deep dive really took some unexpected turns, didn't it? If you want to hear more from Harvey Levin himself, and trust me, you do, make sure to check out that full TMZ interview. We'll link it in the show notes.
Definitely worth a listen. Really highlights how sometimes the most shocking stories are the ones hiding right out in the open.
That's the truth. And on that note, we'll leave you with this.
Yeah.
What does this case tell us about the price of silence and the power dynamics at play in the entertainment industry? Until next time, keep asking those tough questions and keep diving deep.